Obi-Wan, so sassy. Hello and welcome to another episode of Fumbling Through the Galaxy. I'm your host, Severus Snape. So earlier this week, we took a look at the 1/7 scale Gentle Giant bust of Clone Wars 3D Anakin. We talked a little bit about Anakin's backstory and his importance to the universe, as well as what I think were hit and misses with the representation of the character as it pertained to media, both animated and live action. Today we're actually going to be looking at the 1/7 scale bust of Obi-Wan Kenobi, his Jedi Master, who obviously also plays an integral part in the Star Wars universe. But before we get to that, I have to say that if you want to skip ahead and go straight to the toy review, by all means, you'll see the chapters at the bottom. Skip ahead and have a look at this fantastic toy. For everybody else who wants to stick around, talk a little Obi-Wan, let's get to it. So yeah, Obi-Wan. We first meet him obviously in A New Hope.
Obi-Wan. Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time.
As a old hermit who obviously is pulled out of retirement or seclusion, as we come to find out, of course, exile by R2-D2 and Leia as she sets into motion, calling for his help in order to defeat the Empire. And
General Kenobi, years ago you served my father in the Clone Wars.
And by extension, of course, he then meets Luke Skywalker, and we get to find out that, of course, he knew his father during the Clone Wars, and the story plays out as it plays out. So that is our first introduction to Obi-Wan, and through him, of course, we learn about the Force, the Jedi, the Darkside, Darth Vader, and Yoda. So, integral part of the story. Unlike Anakin's character in the prequels, I actually really enjoyed Ewan McGregor's take on Obi-Wan. I thought he did a really fun job. I thought it was a great mix of humor, serious, kind of cheeky, sassy.
Just relax, concentrate. What about Padme? She seems to be on top of things.
I thought he did absolutely bang on with the material that he had. By far, obviously, one of the best actors on screen for the prequels, obviously, considering who we saw and some of the other players. I thought he certainly, to me, was the one person that never jumped out at me as being misplaced or just not getting it, understanding the assignment or nailing the line. So really, really enjoyed his character. Again, we get to see such a different side of him in Clone Wars 3D, which is what I love. So again, like Anakin, even though I enjoyed him in live action in the prequels, I certainly infinitely like him much more in the Clone Wars 3D, only because, again, we got to explore other sides of Obi.
Had you said the word, I would have left the Jedi Order.
That is touching.
You know, we get to meet his love. We get to explore that side of him, kind of the prior to becoming a Jedi, which I thought was a really great story arc with the whole Mandalore angle. I thought that moment where she dies is a moment that really defined Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I've loved you always. I always will.
Right. So as I said, like that is the that moment there is what defines him. He could have absolutely, like Anakin, given in to his rage and his hate and gone to the dark side, which most people would when the love of your life is murdered in front of you. But at no time does Obi-Wan ever stray from the light. And I think that's what makes Obi to me so critical and why I liked him in Clone Wars 3D is he understands that there's some attachment. Obviously, he's not stupid. He gets that Anakin and Padme have a thing going. But, you know, at all times, he doesn't judge. He's just trying to guide Anakin to make sure that those emotions that he has never lead him down the dark path. And I think there's a great balance, and we really get to see that in the Clone Wars 3D cartoon. We get to see just how absolutely pragmatic and dogmatic he is about the order and the oath and the code, but at the same time, how flexible and how understanding he is about how that applies in real life and in real time with his Padawan Anakin. So, just a great character. Other things about Obi-Wan that I really enjoyed were obviously his exploration in terms of what happens after the Clone Wars and after Revenge of the Sith. And we got to see that in Obi-Wan, the show from Disney Plus. Now, I know a lot of people did not like that show, and I'm certainly not going to tell you that it's the best of Star Wars content, but there was some great moments in it. And so, again, I really enjoyed that exploration, the guilt that he felt, just kind of the grief that he really had for everything that had happened.
I'm sorry, Anakin. For all of it.
And but again, never straying to the dark side. So yeah, that's my take on Obi-Wan. I, again, huge fan of Clone Wars 3D, so I think that is the best of Obi-Wan. And that brings me to this figure of Obi-Wan from Gentle Giant, again, 1/7 scale. And again, they just nail it. From TV show, cartoon, to actual sculpt, this is another banger, dead on. So as you can see, they just, as all things Gentle Giant, they just nail it. So I'm interested to know, like, what is your favorite version of Obi-Wan? Do you think he's best in live action? Do you think he's best in the animated series? We know that he was in 2D, 3D, Rebels, as well as obviously the Disney Plus live action stuff. So who is your favorite version of Obi and why? Do you think that his principles were a reason that Anakin went to the dark side? Or do you think that, again, at all times, he demonstrates how to be a Jedi in the best possible way? So leave me a comment. As usual, subscribe, like, and share. And let's get to the table and have a look at this figure. And so here we are at the table with the box. So again, great box art by Gentle Giant here from the TV show. You can see they really do a great capture. And again, unlike other boxes, and same as Anakin, here we don't have a bio, which is, again, an interesting choice. But I guess people pretty much know who Obi-Wan Kenobi is by now. Let's take a look at the figure out of the box. So here's the Obi-Wan figure out of the box. Again, you can see the tremendous amount of detail and likeness to the TV show in the face sculpt. A great texture in the hair. Again, really great texture in the Jedi robes. Saber hilt looks great. Just all in all, a really accurate and great sculpt from the TV show. Classic fighting pose, right? This is Obi-Wan's classic pose. Of course, we know that in that great moment in Rebels where he faces Maul, this is an iconic pose right here. So yeah, that's our look at the 1/7 scale Gentle Giant Obi-Wan Kenobi bust from Clone Wars 3D. As always, leave me a comment, let me know your thoughts. Like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you on the next one. May the Force be with you always.